Hey, gang. I almost missed the start. I was downloading some pictures that I wanted to share on this live stream, and I had some problems getting them in the right location, so I had to start over. Let me ask you this. I see I have Greg Workshop checking in. Jeff Reynolds checked in, but he said he's got to check back out. He's unable to join tonight, so he'll watch on the playback. And Jerry Tyler's here. And cuz I took off work today, the workmen are in my backyard right now putting in my shop. Well, that's a good thing. Let me ask you this: can you hear me okay? That's a big question at the moment because I'm experimenting, and I said it. I think I said it last week or on last stream that hey Mud King, glad you're here. Nick Pixel TV checking in. Hey Nick, hope you're having a great week too. Ricard checking in. Dave Conville. And whoops. Oh, where we go? Ricard saying he hears us good. Woo, boom, 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 boom. Butch, there's no rain at all where I'm at. Surprisingly, I don't know. But yeah, it's been pretty hot and humid. Good. All right, sounds good in New Jersey. Hear you loud and clear. Awesome. Okay, because last week, I've been using the microphone that's on that little camera that's above the laptop, and I mentioned that I wanted to try this other microphone, this more fancy thing, right? But I think I have to be very careful with this because I've seen other people doing podcasts or live streams, and they typically have one of these type of microphones like mounted up here somewhere, so it's not on the desk. At this point, I'm kind of leery about hitting things on the desk and knowing whether it's going to cause some noise that is unneeded or unwanted. So anyway, if you haven't seen it already, I'm sure most of you or a lot of you have or noticed that I posted the fourth video in the Vintage Air saga. So it is near as I can say complete. Everything is fitting, lines up, compensated, adjusted, modified, whatever. And I think at this point, I'm done with that part of it. Now, later on, there will be more to the whole sequence because obviously the car is not ready for final assembly. So I can't put hoses on. I can't put, finish. I have to take everything back off and take the evaporator box back out from underneath the dash and a variety of things. And I wanted to point out, this was a good observation from another subscriber who has his own channel, Call of George. He has been working on his Mustang and doing a great job on it. And he's put in a Vintage Air kit, and we've collaborated a little bit on that situation a while back. But he suggested, and if you go back to, I guess, the third video in the series where I was putting the box up onto the dash, it's kind of a fight to get it up in there. And he made a comment to me. He said, hey, if you wait to put that back bracket on, you don't have to fight with it. And I was like, oh, that makes sense. So you can slip it up under the dash, get it through the bolt holes, that you drill through the firewall, and then bring that plate up and bolt it in. So that's a good comment and option. So, whoops. I know he's probably not listening, but Call of George gets a shout out for that. Otherwise, I wanted to point this out too. I had a conversation. All right, Kim, thank you. Sammy, thank you. Or Sammy's here. Okay, checking in. Great. Whenever I was struggling with the water pump and the balancer issue and all that sort of thing, the owner of the car had contacted Vintage Air, contacted Ford Performance, and he talked to somebody, I believe his name was Tom at Ford Performance, who said, grind down the water pump. That's all you have to do, and it'll fit. And I was kind of leery about that, honestly, because I don't like modifying something like that to where you're taking away material on the exterior of the structure, let's say. I have a new check-in from Aruba. So, I'm going to take a stab at it. I don't know. Horgino Fingal. I don't know if you pronounce a G like that. Horgino Fingal. That's my guess. Okay, glad you're here. And Jorge checking in from New Jersey. But anyway, the man at Ford Performance who builds engines and they talked it over, and he said, "Look, just grind down that water pump; it'll fit." Again, I was hesitant, but I also couldn't tell how much interference I had at that point in time because I just assembled everything and realized that it hit. So I really had no point of reference, especially having the radiator in the way and all that sort of thing. So after taking all that stuff out of the way and realizing, hey, there is some room there, that's what I did. I just ground it down, and he was right. And I know there's we've got Mike checking in from North Carolina. Glad you're here, Mike. I know that there's let's see. I don't know. Am I saying it right? Horgino Fingal. Send it back, sir, the water pump. Yeah, well, the water pump is that's what came with the kit, and it does have a flat spot designed on it. So I'm fine with it. I think it's fine the way it is. Robert Adams, that's a blast from the past there. Where have you been, man? Out driving the Mustang. You must have been working hard on it, got it all done and painted. You're out cruising the coast, right? I'm assuming. Just guessing. Time for coffee. But anyway, and again, I'm hoping this mic isn't picking up too much stuff. Okay, let's see. Well, Giorgino. Well, that makes sense, but that's not how it's. I don't know. You got a J and a G. It's kind of a conflict. So I will go with Giorgino. If that's what you say, then I will go with that. Giorgino. There you go. Anyway. Oh, wait a minute. So he's saying his name is Italian. Well, that's a whole different angle then. Where were you checking in from? Aruba. Okay, well, I guess it's I'll take your word for it. Giorgino Fingal. Okay, now that makes sense. Now you say it's Italian. I'll go with that. Robert says, I wish dealing with daughter moving, etc. just came in from welding the quarter. Well, I'm glad you're here, Robert. Boyson's Restoration checking in. And Ron, I know it's supposed to be like cook, right? Mike is working perfectly. No extraneous noises. Well, there's the big word for today, extraneous. Thank you, Ron. That's a good word, extraneous. Anyway, so at this point, I'm, again, content with the front runner setup. And I said, all that stuff's got to come back off, except for the main housing and the water pump. Those are going to stay in place. So, Landon, Banana Gaming. I was going to pick up a MGB up 2 days ago, but the hurricane affected it. Oh, yeah. I remember you mentioning that before. Well, let's hope it's still there, not washed away. Thankfully, we haven't had much here where I'm at. I know I have people on here that are not too far from me. Well, I say that, but implying that they're getting more rain, but I haven't actually had much rain here at the shop. So anyway, check it out. The other shirt. Decided to wear it today. Okay. Oh, David and Cheryl checking in real quick before going to work. Glad you're here. Boyston, it's actually a play of words of restore and action. Okay, restoration. Oh, that makes sense. The words aren't very big on my laptop. So it's kind of, I got to look at it a little bit, but I get it. Restoration. I'll go with that. Restoration. Okay. What was I going to say? Oh, I don't know if how many of you follow me on my Facebook, but I did put out another, kind of a questionnaire survey of another shirt that Andrew has designed, and it's pretty cool looking. It's going to be Team Brooklyn Pony. Kind of went with that idea, And I guess we were talking it over, and it's kind of like, people are here to see the Brooklyn Pony, so they're like part of that team. So that's why we kind of labeled it that way. Team Brooklyn Pony, and has a picture of the broken down car on the front from the very first, pictures I posted of the car. So, yep. Yeah, I know it's you, Stein, but I'm just trying to point out the name there. Mud King, that's a garage, not a shop. Well, a garage can be a variety of sizes. I don't know how you define a garage or a shop. I call it sometimes a garage, sometimes a shop. I don't know what the difference is. I guess you could find some technical terms to break it down, but it's both. So it's a garage and a shop. It's a good shop. And in fact, I wanted to point out as well that I think it was Jorge who had suggested the idea of the splitter thing. So that is what I'm using to split the microphone and the cam, the little mini camera up there. So that was a good idea. And I'll point that out. Not that it's any big deal, but it was made by Anchor. And this one was like $12. So got it off Amazon. I was like, cool, it works. And it looks like you could actually put 2 more ports on there, but I don't think this one, I don't know for sure. I haven't considered it. I haven't really looked at it, but I don't know that it would, I don't think it charges or anything. I think it just connects things together and it gives you some limits. But as far as whatever it is, bytes per second type of thing. But anyway, apparently it works because the sound's working and the video is working. Okay. What else was there? Oh, I have a couple other things I want to talk about, but the video that, for that has just gone up on the Vintage Era Part 4. And there's been a comment early on, and I know it's in another language, and I try to respond back to those comments. Like if I get an odd, whatever, comment, I actually put it in Google Translate and figure out what it is, whether it's good or bad or worth, leaving on the page, and then I type out a response and try to respond back with that language. So I forget, it was one of the ones I did, or the one I had earlier today. I think it was Danish. I think is what it said it was the language. But anyway, he was thinking that the harmonic balancer was going to still hit the water pump somehow. I don't know how that comes into play, but I mean, that balancer, you're not going to change the shape of that thing. And I don't think anything's going to hit. It doesn't look like there's a chance of it, but we'll see. We'll make sure down the road. Brian, starting second shift. Or you're saying day job done, starting second shift. So you're working 2 jobs, if that's what I'm understanding. David and Cheryl, thanks to everyone who gave us the info on a manual. So they were asking about that last week, on Monday, taking out the fresh air vent control on the driver's side under the cowl. And I'm glad that was brought up, David and Cheryl, because the instructions in the Vintage Air system talk about blocking off the fresh air intakes. And that's just the way it's going to be. They're going to be blocked off. And I had a conversation with the owner, and he said, let's close off the vents on top. And I haven't done that before, and I was kind of curious if anybody has done that, or if they pre-make panels that you can set in and just, tack into place, or if I have to make my own. But it looks like we're going to be blocking off the cowl intake vents. And it makes sense. I mean, from a cosmetic standpoint, I like to leave those there. I think it looks better. But from a functional standpoint, all you're doing is inviting water into the cowl because it can't go anywhere. I mean, it can go out the drains on the side, but if it does accumulate, you're just opening up an opportunity for rust. So I'm not against it at all to block it off. I just know, again, my mind wants to see those vents. And I had an idea, and I don't know how hard it would be to pull off. I'm not that guy to do it, but to have a vinyl piece made that would sit on top of that and at least give you the lines, to make it look like it has the vent there. But it's probably not gonna happen that way. I think we're just gonna weld them shut, or, put plates on and weld it shut and call it a day. And it would have been nice to be able to have addressed that a long time ago with the cowl off and weld it shut. But it is what it is, and that's where we're at right now. So Marshall, anyone have an idea of which master cylinder to use with the 4-wheel disc? 6 piston up front and 4 in rear. Would like to run an older master cylinder that maintains the old look under the hood. And question on a bore size. I don't have an answer for that, but if somebody has an answer for Marshall, by all means, share some information with him. Ricard, the comment was made in Dutch on the front runner. Okay, Dutch. I knew there was a D in there. I couldn't remember. Thank you, Ricard. Appreciate that. Stein, how much would the shipping be if you had to send a Bad Dog cutting wheel, the biggest one with a lifetime guarantee, to Norway? I don't know. I have no idea. I guess we could find out, kind of guesstimate the weight of it and go from there. But I really don't know. You have to send me an email on that and see if we can't figure something out. But I don't know. And Stein says, I heard you mention that shipping overseas was freaking expensive, but I'm not sure of the definition of freaking here. How about insanely expensive, or incredibly expensive, or outrageously expensive? Pick one. That's about what I can tell you on that. But yeah, it's not cheap to send stuff overseas. Second shift is my never-ending VW project. Oh, there you go. Okay. Well, that makes sense. Robert, there are welding patches to plug the cowl. I don't think it looks good. I wish there were some stamped ones that look like the stock, but you could paint the recess black. And that's basically what I was envisioning as well. I don't know that they may make something like that, but that would be kind of a neat thing. It would be kind of a neat thing. Yeah. And I mean, that would work if you could just, that would be an interesting, well, it would be something to make, but I don't know that there would be a demand for it necessarily, unless somebody's doing a full vintage air conversion and wants to go through those steps. But I think that would look pretty neat to have those in there. Okay, Stein. Jerry. Oh. Okay. Oh, so we're talking, Cuz is sharing information about the shop that he's having built. So that sounds like a 12 by 20. It's all metal, 12 by 25, 13-foot center. 12 by 25. Well, I guess that'll work. Mason Fox. Hey, Joe Daddy's Garage. How are you doing? It is nice and cool in our shop. Also, how big is the main part of the shop? I forgot what you had said. The main area here is 24 feet across or wide, 36 feet deep. So 24 by 36, just under 900 square feet. Because I was going to ship a scarf to someone in Scotland, and it was like $40 to send it. Yeah, I mean that's what I'm saying. It's gotten crazy with how much stuff costs. Now, like I said, I used to get a discount with my company that I work for, and that's gone now, at least as far as I know, because they based it off of my little ID, my number on my ID. And until I get I haven't said anything about that. Like, I'm supposed to get a new retired ID, and I don't know if I'm still able to use that discount or not. I don't think I am. But even with the discount, it was crazy expensive. Just to give you an example, I've sent stuff to other places. Let's just say it's not related to this. I've sent some stuff to other places. And if you went through UPS, it was like $150 to send a small item on their service. And then I went to FedEx, and theirs was like $150. And then with my discount, I could get it done for like 40. I mean, it's a tremendous difference on the discount that I would get. But now I don't think that discount's going to be here anymore. And there were some items which it didn't matter. It's kind of weird because if you send it, they charged me at UPS or USPS, I should say. I sent something in, a plastic type of bag, and it was just a paper package or plastic package, and they wanted to charge me like $10 for it. To put that in perspective, I sent the same package in a cardboard box, rigid box, same material, same stuff, and it was like $5. So I don't know how they get their numbers. If it's different because it's in a cardboard box versus a plastic, bag or whatever. I don't understand how they get their numbers. So, Motorsports Engines is here, or Engine, I should say. Good afternoon, Robert. I guess you could back it up with a sheet of metal and then using a TIG welder, just melt it together. But that would be a lot of welding sessions due to heat, and yeah, that would be very difficult to try to keep the cowl from turning into a taco. You'd have to, that would not be good. So it's going to be tricky to figure out if they make the plates. I don't know. Somebody will have to, I'll have to find a link somewhere if they have the plates available. I do want to point out again, Marshall is asking a question about master cylinder. Which master cylinder do you use with a 4-wheel disc, 6 piston up front and 4 in the rear? He'd like to run an older master cylinder, maintains the old look under the hood. So any advice on that for Marshall would be great. Let's see. David and Cheryl. We got the windshield out and there's no post to hold the clips for the molding. They're held in by screws instead. Is that a 6.5 specific? Anyone know about this? That's unlikely that they would just be held in with screws, but I have seen in the past where the posts have broken off and a generic fix was to just drill a new hole and screw in the clip, put a screw and hold the clip in place. So it's possible if you were to clean it up and look, you might find little places where there was a spot weld. Maybe all you have to consider is, because usually the spot weld posts, the little posts are in a very consistent pattern normally. So you might be able to measure and say, well, this one's off this much and this much, and then kind of figure out, oh, well, from this point to the screw, and kind of figure out if it was the posts were there. But they should be there. I don't see why they wouldn't be. But again, it's possible they didn't use them at that point. Now you got me curious. I'm going to go look at the Brooklyn Pony real quick. I just want to see if there's, yeah, there's 3 posts on the side on the A pillars going up. 3 posts. So anyway, Jed's Garage, we like my grandpa's shop. His is 16 by 22. We had just enough. We just bought some stuff to decorate the shop with one thing, and we put up in the shop is a jukebox and an old gas station pump. That's cool. That's pretty cool. I like that. And speaking of decoration, I have a new piece to put up in the shop, and I haven't done it yet. But I don't know if I've shown this yet or not. But I found this. It was on Marketplace on Facebook. Now, this is a reproduction of an Eastern Airlines logo, panel. I don't know how big. This is like 11 inches across or something. But the cool thing is it's metal, but it's also porcelain. So the person who had it, and this wasn't expensive to begin with. It still has a price on the back that says it was Andy Rooney's porcelain enamel advertising sign. So it was made in Port Ewan, New York, apparently. And it shows it as being $21.95. But I didn't pay that for it. But anyway, the person who had it, I think they thought it was damaged because it had white stuff on it, and they thought it was scratched. It's porcelain. So I got it home, scrubbed that stuff right off. Looks great. So that's going to go on the wall somewhere. That'll be another decoration piece to go up. Let's see. Motorsports Engine, you will still get the discount with your retirement ID. Well, that's good to know. Thank you for that. Marshall, check out Mustang Steve. Usually a 1-inch bore with manual brakes, but you'll have a hard time finding a cast iron one that will work due to them not having 4-wheel disc back then. That's a good point. So there's one answer for you, Marshall. So you may want to look that up. Mustang Steve. Motorsports Engine. Oh, and that's a nice new shirt. Yes, it is. I'm really liking this design. And this is again, Grease Rookie Garage designed this. We've collaborated on it. And the other one, I think I don't know if I have a picture of it or not, that we're going to try to get up on Teespring soon, because it's I'm trying to avoid doing the t-shirt sales directly for me. It's just too hard. But this is the look. So if you can read that, it says Team Brooklyn Pony, Joe Daddy's Garage on the bottom, and of course the car, and it's kind of broken down look to it. So thought that was kind of a neat way to approach it. And again, some people are here to watch the Brooklyn Pony build, some are here to watch Jade, and it may come down to doing another one where it's Team Jade. In who knows, it might be Team. If I do one for the basket case Camaro, it might be Team Basket Case. I thought that would be kind of funny. What team are you on? I'm on the basket case team. Thought that'd be a good approach. I think. Oh, here's something else that's kind of interesting to me. And I say interesting. You may not be interested, but recently we had a light go out in our bathroom, and and this is just trivial. This is just trivial information, but we had a light go out, and I finally got around to taking the light out of the bathroom. And I was kind of shocked because this is a really cool looking light. Look at this thing. This must be like one of the first generation of LED lights that they ever come out with. And I took it out and I was like, man, that's crazy looking. It has these big fins all the way around on it. And I pulled the top off just to see, and it has an array. I know it's probably too bright to see it. It's too bright. There's a bunch of just little LEDs all over the place on this thing. But I was like, this is kind of cool, because you look at a new LED light, it looks like a standard light bulb, but this must be well over 10 years old, I know. But I just thought it was kind of cool. And then I was looking at it going, what can I make out of this thing right here? Because it's metal. It's a metal piece. And I was like, boy, that could be who knows what. It could be, top of a fake rocket or something. I don't know. But anyway, I just thought it was interesting. And I thought I'd share it with you. Mason, you need to do a shop tour. Well, it's kind of hard to do a shop tour with a stationary laptop and a fixed camera. And really, if you've watched the videos, you've seen the whole shop. There's not much to it. You can pretty much figure it out by a lot of the videos that I've shown, going around the shop. So, Stein, what would you advise to buy? The 3-inch or the 4.5-inch diamond wheels from Bad Dog? Which one of them are the most versatile? Well, depends on what your tool capability is. I have both. I have both. And I will tell you that the 4.5-inch gets used all the time when I'm doing something. The 3-inch is on an air grinder. It just doesn't. It's going to take a lot of airflow and power to keep that thing cutting. With the electric 4.5-inch, 90-degree cutting tool or grinder, that thing just chugs away and knocks it out. So I would recommend the 4.5-inch. Just saying. Let's see. Kim, Team Basket Case gets my vote. Love it. Well, we could take an image of the Basket Case Camaro where it's, the roof is gone, the doors are gone, the quarters are cut off, and it's just the basic shell, of the interior structure of it. And just, team Basket Case Camaro. You're welcome, Stein. That is in the works as well, Ricard. I'm happy with that. I think we're getting to that point where there will be something with an I'm happy with that saying on it somehow. I think ideally it would probably need to be something, I don't know, I guess with a caricature of my face or something and a thumbs up. I don't know. I need some ideas for that, because it's one thing to have just I'm happy with that. That's fine. We could just have I'm happy with that. And then people go, what are you happy with? I don't know. But I didn't know if it should have something else with it. Like I said, a caricature or a thumbs up, 2 thumbs up or something. I don't know. Just kind of some thoughts down, going forward. But yeah, there's going to be something along those lines. Yep. You're welcome, Marshall. Again, thank you, Robert, for that information. Here's something else I wanted to mention. And I think this is, I talked in one of these and also on one of the Vintage Air videos about my sanding pad and how it was worn out, and I bought new pads for it, and what a difference that makes. We don't realize, how bad stuff was worn out or wearing out. And so I was a couple weeks ago. Hold on a second. Because on my small air cutoff tool, I keep cutoff discs that are 30 thousandths thick. I can cut a bolt without damaging the threads. Yes, I do use the fiber discs. I do. And those seem to cut fine. But with a diamond wheel, it's a lot tougher. It takes some more power to make the cut with that diamond wheel, because the Ferris wheel, or the fibrous wheel, it disintegrates as it cuts, and that's part of the process. Whereas the diamond wheel, it doesn't give up anything. So just know that. I like the small fibrous wheels for doing those sort of cuts as well. Mason Fox, how much are your t-shirts? Edge Garage went to get me one of your shirts. Okay, these t-shirts, Mason, are on Teespring. So you have to go on the bottom of my videos. There's on the main screen of my videos, there's a little scroll going across, whatever has pictures of T-shirts on there, that'll get you to the Teespring page, and then you can look at what's available on there. These shirts are selling for $19.99. You know, I pointed that out earlier. They want you to try to sell them for like $24. I don't want to do that. I try to make it reasonable, but go on Teespring and you can find the T-shirts. So, David Barnes, all 64, early 65 Mustang windshield molding clips are screwed on. Worked on many like this. That's interesting. Okay, so I know that the Brooklyn Pony has weld-in studs on that, and that's on both windshield frames. Now, of course, it's a convertible, so it's not going to have it across the top, but on the windshield frames, it does have studs. So maybe it's a late production 65. So David and Cheryl, David is saying that the early cars were screwed on. So there's an answer. Thank you, David. But what I was getting back to was a few weeks ago, I had gone to the welding supply shop that I use, and I was refilling my argon bottle. And while I was there, okay, so Marshall is saying his 65, they're screwed in as well, so it must be early then. Well, very well could be. So I went to the welding supply place. And, you know, you go in there as a welder, you're kind of a kid in a candy store. You're looking around all the stuff. And I had talked to somebody before when I was in there about being able or having a little bit of difficulty seeing, you know, when welding. And I pointed out that, I mean, at one point in time I did have glasses, but they didn't do much. So I just quit wearing them, and I haven't missed them. But normally if I'm doing some welding, I'll pop on these little, you know, some little readers just to give me a little bit more visual on what I'm working on. And these are only 1.25 or plus 125. So that's, I don't know, very minor improvement. Well, while I was at the welding supply place, like last year, a customer in there says, no, you need to get the inserts. And I was like, inserts? And he said, yeah, they make inserts for going in front of the lens or behind the lens. I was like, oh, well, I just happened to remember that when I went back for the refill. So I'm using this Miller Digital Elite welding hood that actually a friend gave me. And I bought a new pair of lenses. So I'm just pointing this out because there's probably people out there that need to know that you can get these. And I think these are only 1.25, I think. I can't see the number on it. It's not on it anymore, or not on it. I don't know what the ratio. No, 1.5. So it should be this. Yeah, 1.5. So anyway, this makes a world of difference. So if you're having some trouble seeing through your welding hood, pick up one of these, or, you know, figure out which one you need, because they make them in many incremental sizes. And this hood just has some tabs in there, and that's exactly what it's designed for. Has these little hooks on either side. If I can get a shot there, catch the light just right. Yeah, these little hooks that it slides behind and just holds it in place, and you can adjust it up and down. So just wanted to share that because I know it's made a big improvement for me. Rick Stevenson checking in. And Robert, I'm looking at welding helmets right now. My auto darkening gets too dark. Also looking at goggles instead of the helmet, a helmet that gets in the way. Yeah. Well, the only problem with welding, as we all know, is it's radiation. It creates radiation. So you will get burned, you know, whether you like it or not. So I know a lot of times I'll do I'll weld with just gloves and a hood, and I'll end up with, like a burn where my bicep was exposed, or something. And so I try more and more to cover up when I can. I've got some welding jackets that I put on, and that's another advantage of having the AC in the shop is I can put on, welding jacket and not get all hot and sweaty. So anyway, those lenses are called cheaters. Well, that's fine with me. They can call them whatever they want. I know they do the job. Stein, what about me who has weird eyes, 1.25 in the left eye and 2.5 in the right eye? I don't know that they make cheaters like that. But if you're wearing glasses anyway, you could just get magnifiers put in front, would go between the glasses. So it just kind of boosts what you already have with the glass effect. So I don't know if that's helpful or not. Just an observation. And I thought that's just what my old man called them, cheaters. He's been using them for years. Okay. Let's see. Oh, Robert, there are UV head socks like the painting ones to wear with goggles. Well, that may be worth it. I don't know. But yeah, I didn't think about that, but I'm sure there's stuff available. And then you can pretend like you're on a secret mission. You can put on your UV head sock, put on your welding goggles, and you can play the Mission Impossible theme song, and then you can start welding. Might make for a great video. Because I put on reading glasses when I weld. Yeah, I do too occasionally. But it, sometimes I forget where I lay these because I use them a variety of times. And I'll be like, man, where did I put them? Where did I put them? Where did I put them? And I might wander around the shop for 10 minutes looking for something. The other day I was trying to find my air sander, and I looked around for probably 30 minutes, getting frustrated, walking away, coming back in. And I realized it was right where I put it, right where I meant to put it. It was in the cabinet. I just had set it a little off from where I normally set it and just couldn't see it. But, when I'm looking for these, and I don't know if they're on the welder, I don't know if they're on the bench, I don't know if they're inside a car somewhere, because a lot of times I take off and I go and do my thing, come back and start over. But with these, they're always there. Always. And it was only like a few bucks. Honestly, it was like $3 or $4, I think, maybe $5 to get these. And I don't have to think about it. I don't have to go hunting, searching. So well worth it to me. Let's see. Stein minus 1.25, that is. Okay. Robert, Nomex. I hate saying that word. I know it's like baklava, I think. But the way it's spelled, it doesn't come out as baklava. So, I'm not sure if anybody wants to get on the stream today, they can. You know how to do it. Got to send me an email. Oh, here's the other thing. Yeah, Paul Disher, it's always the last place you look. Hate that. Yeah, no matter what it is, it's always the last place you look. Always. I'll give you a bell for that, though. It's accurate. Robert, I spend more time looking for stuff than actually working. A friend used to say, I lose my butt if it wasn't tied on. Yeah. Well, I try to put stuff in the same place when I'm using it. Like, if I'm welding, I try to take the gloves and set them on the welder, if I'm going to do something else. Or because I use my gloves all the time or whatever, or even my earmuffs, which are right here on the, sitting on the bench, I'll set them down and I may touch them and say, gloves or earmuffs, just like a second contact to make my mind register where it is. Okay. So, balaclava. All right. It's a dumb word. I don't like that word. So what is baklava? Isn't that a food or something? Is that a word? Am I hearing something in my head that doesn't exist? I don't know. I need more coffee. Oh, let's see. Yeah, it'll always be the last place time. No matter what it is, it will always be the last time. Okay, so if anybody wants to be on again, there's the email. Shoot me an email, and we can get you on the live stream. I wanted to show you something else that I don't know if Dave on here. I think Dave was on here. I think he was on here early. Yeah, Dave was on here. I got an email from Dave yesterday or last night, I guess it was, wasn't it? I don't even know what day it is. So I get this email from Dave, and he was saying, hold on a second. Cuz is saying, we're saying is to weld something up, then take off the gloves. So adjust something and then forget to put gloves back on and back to pick up a hot piece of metal. Yeah. Yeah. I used to do that a lot when it was, when I had carpal tunnel issues, and I would burn my hands all the time because I couldn't feel them. Could not feel my fingers. I'd weld something, pick it up, and I was like, oh, I smell my fingers burning, and I would know I was burning. So yeah. Baklava is a tasty dessert made with layers of phyllo dough. And that's Greek, right? That's Greek. That's Greek. Okay. Thank you, Robert. Yeah, Sammy and Lisa, I spent 30 minutes looking for a wrench the other day. It was in my back pocket. Well, you know, it was you, Dave, right? Yeah, that's your name. It says Dave Conville. You sent me some pictures of that weird Mustang. Oh, so now we're saying baklava is a form of cheesecake. I don't think so. Could be. I don't know. It doesn't matter. Yeah, you love the smell of burnt skin in the morning. Yeah. All right. So Dave sent me these pictures last night, and he titled it Macedonian Mustang. Macedonian Mustang. Okay. And I downloaded these to show you this. Now, let me just show you the picture. Let me pull Dave's comment back for a second, and I'll show you this picture. And you can just kind of stare at it for a minute and be in awe of this thing. Now, I'm assuming it's a 67 or 68 hood. Maybe, I mean, fender. I don't know. It's a really bizarre looking vehicle. And my first instinct told me, when he first showed it to me, I thought, from the pictures I glanced through them on my phone, I thought it was a four-door, which, you know, they didn't make a four-door Mustang. But then I started looking at it a little harder, and I was like, wait a minute, that's like a Opel or something. It's some sort of foreign car. So here's a shot from the back. And, you know, I just can't, it's hard to wrap your head around whatever this thing was. If you look at it, you know, from that angle, I know it's not, but from that angle, the roof line reminds me of a 64 Studebaker Commander, because they had a very similar roof line in the rear. But then you come back further and you look at the quarters, and then you look at things like the gas neck, where it's at, and the bumper is not even a Mustang bumper. I mean, somebody desperately wanted a Mustang, and they didn't have one, so they made one. I mean, I don't know what that. I really don't know what it started out as, but it's not pretty. It's not pretty. All right, let's see. Dave is saying yes, Macedonian Mustang looking at it a little closer, I agree. If you look close, you can see where the Mustang bumper was sectioned badly. Yes. Robert says, interesting. Yeah, I agree with that. Stein, baklava is based on walnuts and cinnamon, two of the few things I don't eat, so it's not on my list. And yes, it's a cake. Yeah, and I think you get it at like Greek restaurants, if I'm not mistaken. Kim, I close my eyes when welding, make a heck of a mess, but hey, my eyes are still okay. Yeah. Paul Hemp said it's balaclava as in what bank robbers wear. I thought that was stockings. Let's see. Looks like it might have started life as a Lada. Well, see, I know it's a foreign car. That doesn't look like any body that was made in the States. And I mean, it's just somebody really tried to build a Mustang and or whatever. And I was looking at the other vehicles in the yard there, trying to figure out where this picture is. If it was done in Macedonia, which is where Dave said the picture's from, I can't tell what the vehicle beside it is. It looks like a small truck or something, but you can't really make out much in these. What any of them are. Very, very strange vehicle, to say the least. Cause I carry a rare earth magnet in my pocket. When I stick my wrench to the outside of my pocket, you see the reaction of people who don't know there's a magnet in my pocket. Yep. Yeah, there you go. Jerry's going to try it. Dave, Lada is that a Russian maker? So I so badly want to say crazy Russians, but we know how that ends up. Yeah. That'll get you at least one day in Facebook jail. And if you say it again, it'll get you 3 more days. Just saying. Anyway, let's see. Robert saying, looking at pics of Ladas, it really looks like one. They were made by the millions in Russia. They were like the Yugo. Yeah. Well, I think they were better than the Yugo, though. I think they were. I say that. I'm just saying they're somewhat better than the Yugo. Because we all know how the Yugo ended up. Let's see here. Leonard, late to show, putting in new countertops and cabinets. Well, that's good for you, Leonard. That sounds like a good project. So let me see if we have one wanting to come on. So yes, I'll send you the link. Link is on its way, Jorge. Anyway, so let me see here. Let me get that off. So I hope, I know that the storms have been coming through. They've been, the two, was it Marco and Laura, hurricanes coming up. I don't know, again, where everybody is located, but I'm hoping everybody is staying safe from all that. I know that, the wildfires going crazy out in, California. That's a scary situation. I know people out there, and, I'm really hoping everybody's staying safe and not being affected, at least not very adversely from all the weather situations going on, plus all the other crazy stuff going on across the country. Amarante Detailing. Hello from Uruguay. I'm happy to be able to watch you live. Well, I'm glad you're here. Kim, center part of the Mustang. Could be a British Ford Cortina or Corsair. Possibly. I did not see that, Dave, but thank you for that. Would you watch Leonard, watch the video on the front engine cover. Good job. Well, thank you, Leonard. It's just one of those things. As I tell everybody, test fit until you're happy. it's easy to assume that this fender is going to fit, this door is going to fit, or this is going to fit, that's going to fit. Never ever assume that any of it's going to fit. And if it does, yeehaw, all the better. But if it doesn't, the steps to take, start doing, modifications to change this or to redesign that or whatever. And it's just an ongoing, every single thing has to be that way. I do like that design though. The Vintage Air, the front runner setup is pretty cool. It really is. Because, if you look at the old setup and you're trying to put in a bracket here or a thing there to hold this or hold that, and with this one, it's just everything just drops in, put in your bolts, you're done. Fight with the belt though, as I did. I fought with that belt for a while to get it stretched out there and get it, get everything on. So, Paul, Google. Wait a minute. Nope. He's saying now Google Gaz Volga 730 is what he's saying. Gaz Volga 730. So I'll have to take your word for that. I don't know what that. I mean, I'm assuming you're referring to the weird Mustang that somebody built. Dave just got here. If not already addressed, how do you get fresh air in the cabin? That is the thing I see as a issue. Well, with the Vintage Air system, you don't. It's just blocked off, and the only way you get fresh air is open a window. I mean, really, you think about it. If you're building a car, depending on what your build status is, you may or may not want air conditioning. And the sacrifice is losing the fresh air vents in this case. Well, if you're running at a temperature where you just want fresh air, you open your vent window or open your side windows, let some air in the car, and that's fine. Or you turn on the air conditioning and use that. But that's the only thing I can say is it's you get one or the other. And with the old system, like if you had another AC system put in that car, like I don't know how the original setup was different, but the like the company that makes these now, they're not going to follow the way the factory did it. It's just not going to happen. They're using a whole different design, let's say. So that's why I look at it. If you want fresh air, open windows. Robert, I would have liked a little more belt wrap around the power steering pump, but since it's rack and pinion, it isn't as big a deal. Those GM pumps are really good. Okay. Yeah, I guess that's a good thing. I mean, I see what you're saying. Paul, that's what I think the Mustang is. It actually looks like a copy. Yeah, you're talking about that Volga thing? Yeah, I believe you. Yeah, Brooklyn Pony is convertible. True. And Robert, we have 4 days of the year. You would have the windows open, the rest of the AC is running, and 3 days of heater running. All right. So we have a guest, and we're going to bring on Jorge. Boom.
Hey, there you go.
You made it.
Hey, I did. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you okay.
Yeah, your mic sounds good. Glad I worked out.
Yeah, I mean, I was just kind of hoping. Otherwise, I would have had to like backtrack and pull stuff apart and start over. But it seems to be working fine. So, are you? Let's see. It's 4:00. So, have you started? Are you working from home today? Is that, or are you from the shop? I should say.
No, I'm working from home. It's actually been really quiet today, so I can probably go on for a little bit.
Yeah.
Before the phone starts to ring or something blows up, then I got to go.
Yeah. So what's going on? You making any progress?
Yeah, I got the rocker panels pretty close, so I'm hoping to get them on this weekend. Last weekend was Jack came over to visit, so that was cool. And then it was my birthday during the week, so my friends came over and they all brought over beer, whiskey, food, cigars. Didn't get a whole lot done. But
Yep.
Saturday got a lot of welding done, got a lot of preps done. So I'm hoping to get that at least mounted on the car this weekend.
Yeah.
And I got the brackets figured out pretty good for the support for those Dynacorn rockers. So that should come out pretty good. So
Yeah, I know you sent me pictures of the ones you made, pieces you had made on your brake.
Yeah, they're really strong. I mean, it's really wild when you start bending it, how strong that stuff gets.
Yeah.
It really stiffened it up a lot. So
Yep.
So it should really help it. And if I did it right, hopefully it won't interfere with anything, and it'll just blend right in. That's what I'm hoping for.
Good.
So how you making out with the weather, man? That storm looks like we're gonna get hit with it.
Oddly enough, you can see the window behind me. It's sunny and clear outside. Right here where I'm at.
Well, we'll see Saturday.
In fact, probably later on today, I'm going to go mow the yard because it's dry enough, or it seems to be dry enough that I can mow the grass. But yeah, there's not anything substantial hitting right now, and hopefully it stays that way. But how about you?
So far, yeah, it was beautiful yesterday. It was like one of the nicest days, and then so far it started to get really cloudy, and then it looks like we're getting some stuff from the north. But we've gotten hit some really whacked out weather. I mean, 2 weeks ago we hit with another really bad storm. So the weather's been really, really crazy this year. Everything's been crazy this year. This is the year you keep saying, like, I can't believe, between weather, viruses, the news. It's just, I'm so lucky I get to work on this as bad as this project can be. I'm glad I got something to take my mind off of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, so far, the one thing been just burning myself, welding.
Oh, well, that's for me. Like I said, I'm going to end up taking all of the components off of that front runner setup, putting them away, getting that stuff out of the way, and then I have to decide what's next. I haven't, as I said in the last video, I'm not sure what I'm going to work on next, but I have to come up with something.
Well, hey, by the way, thanks for doing that video on editing. That was a really good piece. I was watching that. You always do a great job making videos, how step by step. I'm hoping maybe you could do like another add-on on how to import and how to like put in lettering. But that was great. So the videos I've seen out there, you did a nice job explaining it piece by piece.
Right.
So, and I think that a lot of guys, if they want to make stuff, I mean, they can actually, really get a good idea how to do it. Again,
when I first did that, I didn't know that I could record my editing process. I did not know that. So, and of course, as I do my stuff, I got to adjust this camera just a little bit. As I do the stuff that whatever I do, I always try to explain things and try to go through, details and all that stuff. And, that video that we're talking about is on the Joe Daddy's Workshop channel. And I didn't want to put it on this, this channel because I thought, well, is it worth it? I don't know. But I have gotten good feedback on that, and I try to go through the steps that I understand, for making that happen. Now, there's other things that I can do. Like you're saying, I can show you how to make title. The titles, you can make your own titles. You can add. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff. But again, if you don't know how to get there, then it's frustrating, and that's what I had to deal with. I just had to figure it out as I went along, and it's working. But it is what it is.
No, that was good. It was just a good, good basic on how to do it and how to. And what I liked about it is the way you showed the process, like how to, like here, how you shorten stuff out that was boring, how you do that. That's what's good. The guys don't do that. It's like, you just do this, click on here, click on there. Here's what you do, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, you
Right.
don't really get a good, it's like, yeah, you can see what you can do, but but it doesn't do a good job explaining how to do it.
Right.
You know, and
Well, maybe I'll have to make some more of those because I actually had fun making that video. And what I did is, as I said, you know, I sat here with this microphone sitting on the desk out here in the shop and just started, you know, going through the process. So maybe I should make some, maybe, you know, 5 or 10 minute videos of what I know of how to make this effect or how to make, you know, add this or change that, you know. So maybe I should do some of that because I'm sure people are interested. And like you're saying, a lot of those guys that are pros at it, they got hotkeys and, you know, boom, 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 boom. And I'm like, what are you doing? You know, I don't even know what you're doing.
I mean, it's great if you're advanced, you know, like it's really good for that. But if you're just starting out, man, it's
right.
It's information overload.
Yeah.
You know, maybe that's a good idea. Maybe if you broke it down, like, you know, how to do this part of it, you know, make a 5-minute video for that and make another 5-minute video, like short segments on how to do specific things. This way, you know, you can look them up and go back to them. You know, I think that's a good idea. You know?
I have a question I need to put out. Jerry is asking, Barry, do you or anybody have a recommendation for rack and pinion for a 66 pony? Well, that's a good question because typically if you put in a rack and pinion, you have to modify the suspension. You can't just bolt it in unless I think there's companies out there that do make some sort of bolt-in apparatus.
The one that does it, but it looks pretty like really bolt-on kind of looking is Total Control. They have a kit for, you know, like $3,500, $4,000, and it kind of it's a kind of a bolt-on kind of thing, and it doesn't really look
right.
like. But for the most part, you're right. You really got to modify the whole suspension to make it to work right. Because I think the rack and pinion goes in front the way you do it, right? It goes in front of the
yeah. That's why the setup for the Brooklyn Pony is it goes up front.
Yeah, and the factory setup, the gearing box is behind it, so it's like
right
behind the.
Yeah, I don't know anybody. I can't recommend one without thinking about the idea of modifying the front frame rails and, you know, all that sort of stuff. So I don't have a good answer that may just make it simple.
I can tell you, it'll make a huge difference handling. Because you get rid of the bump steer, you get rid of a lot of inherent design problems.
Right.
Putting it in, it's definitely worth doing it if you're going to drive the car a lot, or if you're going to drive the car fast and, you know, making turns with it. It's definitely worth it. But yeah, I think most of the systems are off the Fox bodies.
Right.
Where they're getting that stuff.
Well, like Cuz points out, we used to use the rack and pinions from Mustang 2s made in the 70s. And that's basically all it is.
Yeah, it's a Fox.
But the difficulty is getting it mounted, you know, coming up with a structure that'll hold it and do everything you want. And that's the same thing, you know, with the Brooklyn Pony. I had to put in all that under structure, you know, lots of things you have to consider.
How did you like doing that TCI kit?
What's that?
How'd you like doing that suspension kit? I mean,
I didn't have any problem with it. I mean, I had to, again, fine tune what they gave me because some of the measurements weren't where they're supposed to be, and, you know, if I followed their direction specifically, it would have been off. But you know, doing the way I do it, it worked out very well. So, Karsten is asking the question, hi, Barry, where is that video? That video is on the other channel. It's on Joe Daddy's workshop. So basically Joe Daddy's, just like here, Joe Daddy's, and then type in workshop. And that brings you to my other channel, which is more random stuff. You know, I did a video editing videos. On that video, I used a video that I put away a tent that my son had borrowed. I have other videos on there about fixing a lawnmower, fixing a go-kart, whatever, all kinds of stuff. But if you go to that channel, Joe Daddy's Workshop, you can see what's on there. But that one is titled Editing with Filmora, I believe is what I titled it. And so, yeah, it has some good information, I think. Okay, so Jerry is saying he's already modified. He already modified the suspension. Okay, so if you already put in a full, like a box cross member up front, you had to have some, I would assume, some idea of whoever made it. Is it a factory piece you put in? Because they may have recommended, hey, this is designed for this type of rack. Because otherwise, a rack is, to me, a rack and pinion is just a rack and pinion. It's just a structure that you put in and then, attach to. So I can't point at one and say this one's better than the other. The one I use in the Brooklyn Pony is by Borgeson. That's a company that makes a rack. But again, it's part of that TCI suspension setup. So let's see. Robert Adams says Unisteer has a rack kit for the stock Mustang for big money, I guess.
Yeah.
So Unisteer. I don't know. Cuz is saying Flaming River is the go-to systems now. So give him a bell for that. I don't know. Jerry is saying on my car it is an inline 6, so that rack mounts behind the brace. The companies I have talked to offer for V8s. Yeah. See, now that's a whole different scenario. And I don't have an answer for that.
I haven't looked into these straight.
Yeah. I don't have an answer for that. So if anybody has an idea for Jerry on the 6, using an inline 6 and a rack and pinion setup, please share it with us. Yeah, look it up, Karsten. You might find it interesting.
Generally, you're gonna have to change the oil pan and the whole oil pump.
Well, that's what I was thinking. Yeah, the oil pan, sump location, all that stuff might have to be changed. I don't know. Guido is late to the show, but he's here. All right, glad you're here, Guido. Robert, $1,500 to $1,900 for a rack kit. If I were doing another Mustang, it would just get a full Mustang 2 front end and ditch all the stock stuff. Angering the purist.
I like that.
Okay, so Jerry says I did not modify for a rack, so I'm looking to install the rack and pinion. Yeah, I don't have a good answer for you on that, Jerry, because you said you've already modified the suspension. I don't. What did you do? How did you modify the suspension? And then, if you haven't modified it for a rack, it sounds complicated because the 6-cylinder, we know it's a different configuration with the engine, but I don't have an answer for that. So
if you send a picture, maybe get an idea.
Maybe,
or the tie rod ends, and are they going to be towards the back or the front?
Right.
Like which direction you're going to go with.
Yeah, I know that I haven't really looked into it very hard as far as adding a rack and pinion setup to another, to another Mustang. I know I have the Stray Pony up in the garage, and I can't make myself modify that car. As much as I want to, I just can't.
Don't do it.
But I really want to.
Go by.
No,
we need the measurements for you to measure stuff for us.
Yeah. Brady Johnson, I'm 16 and I'm buying a 67 Mustang Coupe this weekend as my first project car. What area of the car would you recommend I start taking apart first?
Take a lot of pictures first.
That's a good question. That is a good question because without I don't know how complete the car is, how much of it's there, what's missing, if it's a driver, there's a variety of options there. But typically you start removing the interior, start pulling stuff out, get the seats out, get the carpet out, get a look at the floors, and expose as much of the underside of the car as you can. So that, interior comes out. In the trunk, get all the junk out of the trunk and start looking for rust and problems. Get a look at the frame rails, see if they're solid. Typically you're going to run into more problems with the right front frame rail than anywhere else, depending on where the car is from. But your rear frame rails are usually pretty good. But you gotta get down to the structure of the car first and find out what's good and what's bad. So that's my recommendation.
And do yourself a favor, get a bag of Ziploc bags, and start putting stuff in bags and start labeling everything. Try to try to keep things in groups, so when you go to put stuff back together, you're not driving yourself crazy trying to find stuff.
That and I'll say this to Brady, the stuff that I do on this channel and everything, I've been around cars since I was a kid. So a lot of stuff I just know from osmosis. But if you're taking this car apart, like Jorge was saying, take pictures, or even better yet, make yourself some videos. Get a basic, cheap camcorder or camera. As I mentioned before, I know I have one sitting here. This basic little cheap Kodak camera. Make a video of everything that's inside the car, how it is, how it's laid out, all those sort of things. And then as you're moving forward, if you remove something, make a little video of that process. And then when it comes time to put it back together, you can go, oh, I filmed that. And here's how it was. So just keep that in mind if you're looking at really getting into this car and trying to figure out what's good and bad and needs fixed. Okay, so Jerry is saying he changed the factory suspension to disc brakes. Okay, so really you haven't changed the suspension then. You just modified the brakes because
right.
I'm sure you probably have the same control arms, coils and everything like that if you just converted the disc brakes. So then he says tie rod ends are to the back. Also, I changed the original tie rod ends and dragging link to a V8 style. Okay. So, yeah, you're going to run into conflict trying to put in a rack and pinion on this car. And I don't have an answer for you. I don't know if anybody's put a rack and pinion in a 6-cylinder car and kept the 6-cylinder. So,
yeah,
I don't have a great answer for that.
Yeah, they usually swap it out with a V8 when you do that.
Right. Cuz is saying first thing to attack is the rust. Yeah, and you got to find the rust first. So that's why I was saying get everything out of it and figure out what's good and what's not. Marshall, depends where the rust is the worst, but good luck, have fun, and learn along the way. Well, that's a good comment. Cooterlev, finally able to join today and angered. Keep them stock. Okay. I understand that. I do. I understand keeping them stock. Sometimes you can't, though. Sometimes you just can't. Or sometimes it depends on what the car is, honestly. If it's the thing is, if somebody's already modified it, somebody else that had it before me, I'm not going to undo everything and put it back to stock. So,
yeah. The thing is, like, have you driven these things stock? I mean, have you really driven them on roads and like go around a sharp turn, or tried to park them? I mean, it's
yeah.
There's a reason why they changed all that stuff.
Yeah. Cuz says, glad to see a 16-year-old working on a project car. Kudos. I'll give you a bell for that.
Yep.
Seems like teens aren't interested in cars like they were in our day. Yeah, I agree. Guido says he has a Unisteer power unit. Well, actually it says non-power, typo. He says it sucks. The turning radius is terrible. Can barely pull off a U-turn. Maybe I don't know what he lost me there. Maybe now power is good, but power sucks. I think he's saying non-power, typo, non-power. So Unisteer is apparently not a good thing from what Guido says. Cuz stock isn't always good. Modern motors, trans, and suspensions are so much better. Yes. And again, to me, it comes down to the car. It really does. Like, yeah. I'd have a hard time modifying an original 67, 68 fastback. I wouldn't want to modify it. I would want to keep it original,
Yeah. Well, listen, my old shop used to be custom motoring. I mean, we used to custom everything. And so Jack, when he came over to visit me on Saturday, we're talking about his car. I mean, he's got an original car.
Yeah.
I mean, like real original everything, and he's like talking about, yeah, he's going to do a suspension change. He's going to put a 5-speed in it. I'm like cringing. I'm like, man, do you really want to do that to that car? I mean, I mean, it's like, that's such a rare car to find, a real GT like that. And then it's like, you're going to do all the changes, but I mean, it's his car. It's what he wants to do. I totally get it. But I'm like, dude, it's like, if you had that thing original, you're over an $80,000 car when everything's said and done. I mean, you already got disc brakes on it. You already got, if it was me, I get it. I totally get what he wants to do, but it's like, oh man, it's such a hard find. That's a hard call.
Yeah. Well, we talked about that when I first did the overview of his car, and I said, whatever you do, save all the original pieces that you take off and refurbish them if you can.
That's what I told him.
And then don't cut the car. Don't cut it like a permanent modification. If you want to put it in the 5-speed, as long as you're not modifying the body, stuff like that, I'm okay. But
Well,
you don't,
he's gonna do a Dynacore floor.
Yes.
So it's gonna be, and I was trying to tell him, like, man, it's not like you think. It's gonna be way different than what you got. You're gonna have to make all kinds of modifications to make it work. It's not like, you
Right.
build it in, you're done. It's not. I was showing him what I was going through, and I showed him all the stuff I was doing, and he's like, so, but it's, but the car sounds like, I can't wait to see it. I'm gonna hopefully maybe go up there this weekend and take a look at it. He's gonna start taking it apart. It's gonna be really cool. It's definitely a really cool car.
Yeah. Let's see, Jerry Tyler. I did get the rear bumper aligned to the quarters. I used the washers welded together as you showed on a video. So there.
Cool.
So Jerry got his bumper looking better. Good. Guido is asking if you and Jack held hands at the bagel shop.
No, social distancing.
Socially distant.
No, that was kind of weird at first too.
Yeah.
It's weird being here in Jersey, up here where all the COVID stuff. It's still, we're doing a lot better up here. It's getting better. It's still around. Now I just saw on the news that actually they're going after the governors for. Someone came up with the idea of, the nursing homes are actually sending people that had COVID to the nursing homes. Not such a great idea. And, the residents really paid for that price for that. It's horrible. Completely horrible how they did that and they treated it. But it's gotten a lot better up here. They're actually opening up gyms starting, I think, next month.
Yeah.
So that's good. The rest, it's getting better up here, but it's still here. It's still, you've got to be really careful.
Yeah.
You got to take it seriously,
Yep. Cooter is saying he has driven his stock Mustang for 36 years, bought it when he was 15. Kudos to Brady. Take care of your first pony and it will last a lifetime. There you go.
Cool. You must have a lot of upper body strength.
Yeah. Cuz is saying, Jorge, tell him to sell it to someone who values a stock car and buy a project car. Well, can't always do that.
I mean, he spent a lot of time trying to find that car.
Yeah.
He's got a vision, it's going to be cool. I really can't wait to see him finish it. So that's going to be a pretty neat project.
Steve is saying, so I don't get why you don't want to do modifications. It can always be put back if someone wants it put back, and don't modify a rare one. Yeah, that's basically what I'm saying.
Yeah. Well,
don't modify a rare car.
Well, I mean, yeah, like
the rarity depends on what your opinion is of rare.
Well, like he wanted to do the suspension up in the front and put like A arms and all that. I said, you don't have to do that. Like Total Control has a really nice kit that goes in there. It's almost like a McPherson strut system, and I'm like, man, definitely check it out. This way you won't damage the car, but man, it's going to make a huge difference on the handling of it. The way that they did it. I mean, they did a really great job with it. Stuff's not cheap,
no,
but really quality stuff. But you're not altering the car.
Right.
You're just altering. You're working within the suspension, and it's a total redesign. But you're not cutting stuff out and redoing things. So.
Right, and that's something I was considering for the stray pony. If I get to that point, is doing that coilover setup that uses the original towers, and modifying the suspension that way.
A really good video on that somebody did. Look up Large Marge, and they pretty much did that. I think it was a 69 they did it too, but it was basically the same kind of setup. And it worked out. The guy was really happy with it when it done. I've heard some really good reviews about it. So
okay, sounds good.
Yeah, I mean, definitely good design. I looked at it. It looks really good to me. So
yeah. Phil Miller is saying classics are for shows, but I need groceries and I want something cool to drive. Yeah, I'm with you on that. Marshall, if it snowballs, change one thing and a lot of others are affected and must be changed as well. Don't ask how I know. It all snowballs. That's what he's saying. You start digging and you start finding more and more and more wrong. So yeah. Jack's checking in and he's saying, hello, George. Jorge.
Hey, Jack.
So, and Greg Workshop is checking in from Australia. Glad he's here. Boondocker is checking in. A little late, but he's here. And cuz I found a nice looking car, and even if it's a numbers matching six banger, it's getting a V8 in it. Yeah. Well, you know, as I said before, I keep looking on Marketplace on Facebook just to see what's out there, just to see. And a 6-cylinder 68 Mustang popped up that is in a warehouse looking building. And the guy says he listed it at $4,000 and said, $4,000 or best offer, needs to go. I'm trying to clean up this shop. The owner died. And I was like, oh, well, he had it listed for $4,000. And I mean, it looked like a pretty intact 6-cylinder convertible Mustang. And then I saw it again today, and now the price is $5,000. So maybe he's done some research, or he's had some really crappy offers from people and decided to try to up the price so he could get more money out of it. I don't know. But there are certain ones I've been trying to keep track of and follow and you know, maybe come across something that's worth buying. I don't know. We'll see.
How's Craigslist down there? I mean, you do pretty good up here with that.
It's not. I mean, you look at Craigslist now, and there's hardly anything on it as far as those any old cars go. You can do a search for 69 Mustang, and it might come up with 2 cars, you know, or whatever. I haven't done Craigslist in a while because I've been very disappointed with, you know, what's been offered.
I guess stuff's on Facebook Marketplace, I guess is what the hot thing is right now.
Yeah, and they have all kinds of stuff. It's actually, I think it's crowding out Craigslist. Honestly, I think it is. Steve, the way values go today, a Resta mod can be worth crazy money. It's the best of both worlds. You get to drive something old and cool, but you can blow the doors off modern cars. Yes, I agree with that. Boondocker, Barry, I'm never late. I arrive precisely when I mean to. Yeah. That goes back to the conversation. I found it in the last place that I looked. Yeah. Because of saying Craigslist has too many scammers. And I agree with that. I've run into that several times. The thing about Facebook, at least, I mean, and again, I'm not necessarily a huge fan of Facebook, but the concept where you use Marketplace is you can, you know, message somebody and they respond back or whatever, but you can click on their profile and it'll pop up who that person is. You know, you get some information on that person, whether they want it or not. You can actually look up some information on those people. And that kind of makes it a little bit better, in my opinion, because now you at least have a face, you know, and something you can attach to that person. Whereas on Craigslist, you call up a random number and they're like, yeah, show up with $500 and we'll give it to you. You know, it's like, how do I know? You know, I don't even know who I'm looking for, you know. So there is some value to the Marketplace setup. So
it sounds like it's a little bit like eBay kind of setup.
No, I mean, not really. A Marketplace, I don't know if you're not on Facebook, you're not going to find it, but it's just like a Craigslist, but it has, for you to post something, it uses your profile. It uses your personal information attached to that. So you can't just put up a fake thing and say, you know, or you can, I guess, but it feels a lot more secure, personal, let's say.
Yeah.
You know, good or bad.
I'm just not a big fan of Facebook.
You
know, I mean, you're like, you know, they've gotten,
yeah.
I don't even want to get into that, but yeah, you know, like that whole thing that what happened to you, that's just, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, ridiculous. But see, the bad part is No, I have a digital footprint, right? Digital footprint. This is part of my digital footprint. Instagram is part of my digital footprint. Facebook, all those things are part of that system. Well, I can't have like the Facebook thing. I don't know if I could have just a business type of page without having it connected to a personal page. I don't know. So the problem with me being on my personal page and having an opinion or an idea or whatever, they can twist that around and go, guess what? You're locked up, so you can't say anything on your personal page, and you can't say anything on your business page. That's the thing I don't like. That's what
Yeah,
really gets me. But
I don't know. I think this whole country was based on freedom of speech. People have died for it, and I think that the problem is that it just seems like every year we lose a little bit more of it.
Sure.
I mean, it all started with the Patriot Act when that went into place. I knew that this, we're here we are today when that was going in. It's like there's no reason to support hate. There's no reason to support bad stuff. But unfortunately, you can't have your cake and eat it too, and that's the problem. It's like here we are now. It's like, really, you can't say certain things. You can't really, you really can't have an opinion.
Right.
You bad or good, and that's, So
Yeah.
I don't really want to get into that, but
Nope.
it's just unfortunate. That's why I'm not a big fan of some of these.
Yeah.
The way
We have Steve saying eBay is also a good source for stuff. So I've bought stuff off of eBay before. Rally Cat, Harvey's checking in.
Hey, Harvey.
Marshall, for what it's worth, I've had good success with Metro Atlanta Craigslist. Found my fastback on there in North Carolina, and a guy with NOS parts here in town. Well, see, there's a good one. Let's see. Cause Facebook isn't bad. There are bad people on it. I am on several communities that are muscle car specific and see many good cars show up for sale on them. Yes, I see that as well. Steve is saying well said to something we commented on. I just have to agree with him. G Mars, was there ever a time possible when you were starting to paint and didn't have a lot of cash, work with oil-based paint, Rust-Oleum, acrylic, clear, lacquer, etc.? Not me. Nope. Everything I've sprayed has been base coat, clear coat. That's all I've ever messed with. So I'm going to say no.
I painted a pickup truck with Rust-Oleum. It was all red. It was Chinese red was the name of the color. I had the imprint of the arrow on my finger for about a week. And after about a month, it turned pink. so
yeah, nice.
Don't. I mean, if you're gonna, if you, I mean, that stuff is great. Some of the stuff they have, the all base paints they have, is good for like commercial stuff. If you want to do it like on a piece of equipment, on a tractor, that kind of stuff, is fine. It's even good for undercoating parts or parts you're not gonna really see, but for like body panel parts, I wouldn't recommend using it for that kind of stuff. I mean, it'll look good for a while. I don't know how it's gonna last in the sunlight.
Yeah,
you're really gonna have a problem with that. I mean, if
I don't
you
have
get
much information on that.
it's like,
we have I'd fix 3M is here checking in. Yep. Yeah, Harvey, I don't know if you picked up any more followers on Instagram, but had a guy last week or on Monday asking about the shifter cable or clutch cable, I should say, on your conversion. So I don't know if he ever got in touch with you and was able to resolve that or not, but hopefully some information was shared in that aspect. What else is going on? I'm trying to think if there's something else that I needed to address before we're done. We're already an hour and 35 minutes into it. Let's see. Harvey, I've always used automotive finishes. Most other finishes break down with UV. Yes.
Yeah.
I agree. Jerry, I painted with oil-based paint. I could tell you base coat and clear is the way to go. Spraying the clear takes a little or a bit of practice, but much easier than the oil base. I agree. I agree with that process because that's all I sprayed, but I have not done oil base, so I'm not even going to attempt it. Stein, so many people are like this. You can have your own opinion as long as it is an opinion that Facebook approves of. Yes, that's exactly what it is, and that's that mob rules mentality type thing.
It's politically correctness is
Yeah,
out of control.
and their opinion, whatever is their opinion, are politically correct. Sammy, Lisa Smith, I do not support single stage paint. Okay. Harvey, yes, a few more. Thanks. Good. Okay, so you got some pickups on the Instagram. And yeah, Jerry is saying a single stage auto paint is another option. And it is. I have not sprayed single stage. So I don't really have an opinion on it, but I know people use it.
I used to use it years ago, but I mean, it's really not. It's just not common anymore. It's really more for like an industrial use for like a UPS truck or or it's really more. It's more commercial type vehicles that use single stage anymore. There's nothing wrong. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. I mean, you know.
Well, yeah,
automotive stuff that has that, but
yeah. Brian is saying he's tried the shrinking process we discussed briefly on Monday night. Small to 2-3 inch area, it works great. Well, good. Wait, get a better bell for that. Stein, so good to hear you say about political correctness. I hate that. Yeah, I'm tired of it. I'm just tired of it. It's just, and you can see stuff every day, whether on the news or whatever, and it's just, I don't know.
Well, I mean, the news is a whole different thing too. It's not news anymore. It's commentary. It's not just the facts. This is what happened. Blah blah blah. It's a commentary. It's an opinion of whatever,
right?
Whatever, and and unfortunately, it's depending on what news channel you go on, it's going to be their side of the opinion, and then you have to try to decipher what the real news is like.
Well, and along with that, some of the incidents we see and the reactions that occur from those incidents, it's like the microwave oven of response. You normally, we would get something, a news input, whatever it may be. Let's just say that there was a car crash on 5th and Main today, and we caught it on video, blah, blah, blah. And all of a sudden, everybody's going crazy and saying, well, it's this guy's fault. It's this guy's fault. It's this guy's fault. Instead of, let's do an investigation and find out what happened, and then figure out, then they come to realize that the guy that they put at fault had a seizure or had something happened to him that caused the accident. He didn't intentionally cause the accident, but he's, immediately pointed fingers at and saying it's all your fault because of this. You weren't paying attention, or you know what I mean? So the microwave mentality is we have to respond right now. As soon as the incident happens, we have to respond without any evidence to back it up or any investigation. That's what really gets frustrating is you see these incidents where something happens. I'm not going to get in I don't want to get into it too deep, but something happens and they see a video clip that somebody posted, and then all of a sudden this city in the middle of the Midwest is burnt to the ground because of it. And it's like, wait a minute. Whoa, back up a second. There's a process to this, not just the immediate responses to burn everybody's property down and destroy their livelihood and their community. I don't understand it. So.
Well, I think the problem is that the media is just they're not helping the situation.
Oh no.
They're amplifying. Like I remember, I'm not going to get into what's going on today, but I can tell you what we really witnessed when 9/11 happened with the terrorists. The newscasters were going out there like, oh, there's no one protecting this reservoir over here. Someone can come and dump, chemicals in here and poison the whole town. Well, do you really need to give them ideas?
Right.
Did you really need to do that? I mean, They were like, at the time, the newscasters were the terrorists' best friends. Yep. They were giving them more fuel, more ideas, and more time.
Right.
They were not making it better.
No.
That's all I'm saying. And I'm like, that's what I witnessed as far as the media and what was going on with with the terrorists when we were going through all 9/11 stuff.
Right.
You know, and
And the thing is, they're just trying to get more people to watch the news, or news. They're just trying to get more viewers to get more,
yeah. I used to be selling papers. Now it's just selling media. But the thing is that what are you doing for the country? Are you really doing? You're not really doing a good service. You're not really helping people.
Right.
It's just, but that's just the world that we live in today.
Right.
So I just wish that people, when they look at the news, they really take it with a grain of salt and make your own decision. Don't let make your own decisions. You really figure out what's going on. Don't let some news commentator give you an opinion. Get your own opinions. That's all. I wish that more people would do that. Anyway, let's talk about cars. Sorry.
Greg is saying I have 2-pack. I'm not sure what that is, Greg. I'm not sure what that is. 2-pack. I don't know what that is. All right. Harvey, I use single stage semi-gloss black in my engine compartment. That worked well. Yep.
Yeah, it's great. That's good for that.
I've used an epoxy product. I forget where it's at anymore, but it was a epoxy with hardener in it that I sprayed under the light blue Mustang, and that worked pretty well.
Yeah, I meant to ask about like the engine compartments, like for heat and stuff like that. I mean, is that fine for hot spot?
It shouldn't affect it. I mean, paint will hold up to a lot of heat. It has to have if it's hot enough for the paint to come off, you're in bigger trouble than anything else.
And most of the engine compartments are painted black, or they painted the color of the car, or?
Well, I like them painted black myself. And I've researched this a little bit, and it's been a while. I've seen people paint them body color, but I think, and I could be wrong, but I think the original layout was black engine bay, and then the body line ran to the top lip of the cowl, like where it comes down under the hood.
Right.
That was body color. And then the 2 plates that attach to the rear aprons from the cowl, I believe those were also body color. And so that way you would kind of draw a line and box that out to body color. And then everything else was black, from my understanding. Now, they may have changed at some point, but I just know from some of the research I was doing, particularly on the 68, because as I was prepping the Jade Mustang with primer, I wanted to visualize where the cutoff line was for the paint. So I did some research, and that's what I discovered was for those cars, that was the layout. Now, earlier cars, I don't know. Could have been different. So Harvey is saying catalyzed paint residue. Wait a minute. Catalyzed paint residue fluid breakdown from spills.
What?
Oh, resist. Okay, resist. He's got some extra letters in there. Catalyzed paint resist fluid breakdown from spills. That's what he's saying.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Had some extra letters left over from another conversation. Randy is saying Mopar was the only one that color-coded engine compartments with exterior vehicle, from my understanding. I was thinking the same thing, actually. I was just thinking about that because I've had Mopars. So yeah, I was thinking the exact same thing that you're saying, Randy. So I'll give you a bell for that. Let's see, Harvey. Yeah, okay, he's saying his white 68 is a black engine compartment. Okay.
It's flat black.
Well, I don't know if it's flat black, but it's black.
Matte.
Yeah. And he's saying it's laid out like I said, where it's comes down the cowl, stops at the top of the cowl, the firewall down is black. And so that's what I'm going to do with the same thing with the Jade Mustang, is copy that. It's okay, Harvey. We figured it out. Marshall, the first gens were the red oxide primer on the bottom side and black engine compartment. So there you go. I do remember the red oxide primer. I don't know when they stopped doing that. I don't know when that, how far they went with that red. And I don't know if the red oxide, if that was, I think that was lead based, because they used to call it red lead.
Red lead.
Right? They did, and it was like a, it was hazardous to remove it because it was lead based. But there's lots of hazardous things in our lives. Randy, I did paint my engine compartment the same color as exterior. Looks great. Get tons of compliments, and it's not even on the road yet. Well, there you go. For me, I just like it, and I guess it would partly depend on the color as well. Because I like to have, like people have said before, or I've heard people comment that the engine should look like it's in a jewelry box. So you want the engine to be the diamond ring that's sitting in a box, that doesn't take away from it. So when you have a black engine bay, it kind of makes the engine appear better. Just the way I've heard people say it. Now, depending on the color of the car too, like if you were doing a factory blue engine, I don't think I'd want a blue engine bay. I think it would look weird. Certain colors aren't going to go well. Like if it was like maybe all yellow, it may not look right with that car, because you got these big yellow shock towers coming in and kind of boxing in, you know what I mean? It's just a matter of opinion, but I'm just saying, I just like the black. I think it helps define the engine and what's sitting in there. So
that makes sense.
Harvey is saying semi-gloss for that engine bay paint. And Greg is saying I use the same paint as you. So he's talking about the PPG, I assume. Jeff Reynolds, wait a minute. You're back. You said you weren't going to be here. Now you showed up. All right. Well, I'm glad you're here, Jeff. Glad you're here, because I'm only going to be here for a little bit longer. I don't know why. I've just kept on going. So
how long do you normally do these? How long do you normally do these? Well,
on Thursdays, I try to go an hour. I know I've been going an hour and a half. Today's probably going to go 2 hours, but and then on Monday nights, it's usually 2.5 hours. So, but I know that, I can't come on forever. Just can't do it. Can't do it. You run out of things to think about or talk about. So and I end up repeating myself and going, well, the front runner system. But speaking of, I said it before. I think in one of the previous live streams that what I'm trying to do now on the weekend, Saturday, maybe Sunday, is work on the Jade Mustang. Trying to get stuff done on it. I have not filmed anything on it. I've been working on stripping the underside of the deck lid just to get it prepped, to get it in epoxy. So it's not really a fun video to just show taking off paint. But I want to try to get everything a lot closer to having, in high build primer, because at some point I need to paint that car at some point. And really, honestly, that car, it's a lot closer than it appears to being finished, because all the body work 92% of the body work is finished. And it's just a matter of getting it prepped and having it ready for paint at that point. But I'd really like to have that car, at least get it in paint, and then I can pull it out of the paint booth if I want to and just move on. Hopefully.
How's it going with the retirement? Like, have you kind of figured out a schedule that you're doing, or
not really? I'm I guess technically I haven't been, I took a voluntary furlough back in the end of April.
Right. I remember that.
So, I was off for 90 days and just kind of doing a thing that I'm doing it right now, just kind of doing whatever. But it's been really good because, we've had our grandson over here a few times to, hang out and do things. And And in fact, I normally wouldn't. I don't normally share these pictures, but the other day he was over here, and all he's just walking around now. He just hold your hand, hold your finger, and he can walk by himself, but he wants to hold your finger and walk all over the house, whatever. So I took this picture, and I thought it was kind of cute because I'm looking down on him. He's holding my hand. He's got a truck in his hand, and he just looks up at me. And so I was like, that's cool. That's cool. You can't argue about that. So that's been a good part of it. But anyway, that's the bulk of it right now is just doing stuff out here, finding something to eat, coming back out here. Let's see. We got Jeff. He says, "Hi, Barry and Jorge. I'm listening until I get my breath back." So he must have been. Maybe Jeff was out for a run. Maybe he was out running around. We'll have to see. Because you said Jorge built custom cars. What's the most interesting build he did? Well, that's you.
Well, we used to do all kinds of stuff. We did first car I ever did, it was really custom, was a Volkswagen Beetle. It had a Porsche engine in it, had a 912 and a 912 5-speed in it, and that was about 150 mile an hour bug. That was like the first custom one I ever did. And then I got hooked up with these guys from our Porsche factory race team. They were based out of California, so I started doing stuff with them. I built a Volkswagen Thing, and that had a 914 engine in it with a real crazy modification and a 5-speed, and that thing was really crazy. They Creative Coachworks did the body work. I did pretty much the assembly work, built a dashboard for that. That came out pretty neat. And then we were doing I did an English Morgan, did a total restoration on that. I did a bunch of Porsches. We were doing they were pretty much really crazy cars. They were street cars, but they were super fast. They would take 930 turbos, and we just modify them, do all kinds of stuff to them, and it was wild. They would pull almost a G on acceleration, really super fast. I mean, I shouldn't even say this, but I guess you can go on when you're on a highway, and the white lines turn solid. You're way too fast.
Yeah.
But so no, we used to do that. Oh, we did a funny one was some kind of weird Mercedes-Benz, put in nitrous oxide in it. It was like some kind of crazy V8 aluminum engine, and it was like the fastest couch we've ever seen. It was, you could fit like four people across this thing. It was just crazy, this big limo with nitrous in it. That was pretty crazy. But the Porsches were pretty wild. We used to build about 5 of those a year, and they were the bad part was that they were actually nicknamed killer cars, because we would build these things and they were just so fast, so smooth, and so quiet. You can't tell how fast you're going. And one guy would kill himself, out of the 5 that we built a year. It was but I mean, they were just crazy fast. You could do 90 miles an hour in second gear. And in second gear, you're doing 90 miles an hour, but you could stop, just like real quick, pull off. It's so smooth,
Crazy.
The trick was to get somebody in the passenger seat, and then you would say, okay, let me see if you can actually turn the radial knob, and then you take off, and then we're like, it would stick you in the back of the chair and just start picking you up.
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Sounds like it. Jeff is saying, Jorge, I'm in East London, but New Jersey has a place in my heart. I spent 6 months in New Brunswick and then South River.
Oh, cool.
So, yep. Proud granddad. I am. Yep. Greg Workshop is checking out. VW Insanity says, sweet, referring to your story there. And then Samuel Lisa Smith says, we are just starting the Journey Doubter. is 3 weeks in. I don't know what that is. It's just maybe just starting the journey.
They're starting the journey on their project, maybe.
Could be. Maybe just starting the journey and then. Oh, daughter. Maybe daughter.
Oh,
Is
daughter?
3 weeks in. Okay. I don't know.
Are you going to make the shop kid safe now, or how's that going to work?
Yeah. Oh, for me,
Yeah.
I'm not worried about it for a while. I mean, he's just over a year old, so it'll be probably a couple more years before he's actually out here, trying to get into things. But I'll adapt and adjust whatever I need to do.
I remember when I was 3 years old, I used to
That's how
go
it
into.
works. We all know that.
I remember, but when I was 3
What's
years
that?
old, I remember when I was 3 years old, I used to go to my uncle's shop. He had this really wild big shop. I used to go in there and steal parts and play with them, and I was doomed, I guess, as a mechanic. I was going in his shop and just playing with stuff when I was a little kid.
Okay, so Sammy Lisa Smith saying the daughter is pregnant. Okay, due in 3 weeks. I think he's saying due in 3 weeks.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Okay. Dave Conville got to run. Have to go get vet ready for a trip to Carlisle tomorrow if it doesn't rain. Have a good weekend, guys. We'll see you, Dave. Yeah, I'm gonna end this in about 3 minutes. So, Jorge, I'm gonna sign you off. Glad you were here. Appreciate any input. Yeah, it's always nice to hear from you. So I'm gonna check you off. So thanks for being here.
Hey, thanks for having me. Gotta go back to work.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So Karsten saying see you later. Yeah, it's DC. Whoop. See you next Monday. Yeah, I'll be here on Monday. So, you're talking about Dave. He's asking Dave if he'll be here. But yeah, I'll be here on Monday. So Monday will be the next live stream. And other than that, I've got several ideas, going on for what I want to do for the next video, but I haven't committed to anything. I know I need to have something generated because everybody wants to see new videos. And there's a part of me occasionally now, I will torture myself with the idea of dragging the basket case Camaro in here and attaching the side that is sitting back in the back of the shop. I keep wanting to just to do it, just to get that part of it done and then put it back outside and under a tarp. But I don't know. There's plenty to do with the Jade Mustang that I need to get finally prepped out for the paint. And so as I said, I may have to just continue with that and knock some stuff out just to get it ready. Because I know everybody would love to see. I want to see that car in the Gulfstream Aqua color. I think the car's going to look gorgeous with paint on it. But so I don't know. We'll figure something out, and it could be something minor. It could be a how-to video on welding or something. I don't know, but I'll come up with something. And yeah. Anyway, so again, thanks everybody for being here, hanging out, making this a better community, better place, hopefully making it a better world in some sense. Sharing information, having conversations, and that's what the whole world needs, really. Everybody needs to be communicating with each other and trying to be reasonable and understanding and whatever. But anyway, that's all I have to say about that. So, yep. Jeff Reynolds, 2 hours for Thursday is good going. Yeah, I suppose so. Okay. So, we'll be back on Monday night, and I'll see if I can't get another video going for something else. But if I haven't said already, get stuff off Amazon. Go through my link, help out with that. And t-shirts are available on Teespring. More designs coming, and that's gonna be it. So until next time, Take care of yourselves.